universe is 13.8 billion years old, unmeasurably big and expanding. Life first emerged on Earth 4.28 billion years ago. Humans have only been in existence for the last 300,000 years. We are yet to discover life anywhere else. Human action, rooted in an instinctual drive for dominance and control, is becoming deadly. As is well known, this is causing unprecedented biodiversity losses, severely threatening the existence of all life on Earth. Learning to change our behavior is a difficult challenge, but now our survival vitally depends on it. In 1990, the French philosopher Michel Serres put forward his notion of a natural contract to symbiosis, in which our relationship to things would set aside mastery and possession in favor of admiring attention, reciprocity, contemplation, and respect. Post-human theories such as this share a common understanding that the key to our survival is to surrender our dominant drive for control, to decenter ourselves and recognize our dependence on the contingent and interdependent planetary ecosystem of which we are a part. The incredibly vast scale and intricate nature of this system infer that even the smallest actions can cause large and unpredictable consequences for any number of biotic and abiotic entities. Hierarchies dissolve as all things exist on a flat ontology. As architects, this implies that as we design the world for ourselves, we are simultaneously, unconsciously, designing the world for non-humans as well. No longer can we afford to design as if we exist in isolation. We need to decenter the human client in favor of wider ecological integration. But given the impossibility of ever knowing exactly how non-humans experience the world, how tenable is it to design for them? How can an architecture work at multiple scales and timespans appropriate for non-human life? And, given the vast interdependencies of the system, which non-humans deserve more attention than any other? The City of London serves as a microcosm of the global ecological and existential crisis, with the lowest biodiversity levels in the UK. This lack of biodiversity, compounded by the relentless spread of the city's infrastructure and rising human population, is increasing flood risk, heat island microclimates, and pollution levels, all of which are at critically dangerous levels for human health. 2,997 brownfield sites, covering 26.42 kilometers squared of land, form some of the last havens for non-human biodiversity. Although these sites may appear vacant to the casual human eye, these sites are teeming with life. The large expanses of bare, heat-retaining concrete provide crucial habitats for at least 15% of the UK's nationally scarce invertebrates, including the streaked bombardier beetle, the distinguished jumping spider, and the brown-banded carder bee. Since the ecological importance of these sites is not widely understood, they are constantly under threat from fly tipping and heavy housing developments for a city already 18 times more crowded than any other in the UK. Recognizing the urgent value high biodiversity levels hold, this project seeks to safeguard these brownfield sites as ecological reserves by the erection of anti-human wall systems. Comprising three typologies, the wall structures are positioned according to wind load and monitored traffic levels. A perforated wall for animal and plant access. A more protective wall to guard against heavy traffic levels and wind loads. And a building typology for human intervention. The walls would be constructed over a year from an unstabilized rammed earth composite, sourced from within the brownfield sites themselves, reducing transport and manufacturing pollutants and the associated costs. Designed apertures in the wall would allow the free passage of plant and animal life to enter the sites at will. Embedded within the wall structure would be an adaptable building for human use, one part used by ecologists to analyse and learn from the emergent urban wildlife developing within the sites, and the other to provide a space for the general public to observe and learn from the ecologists about the importance brownfield sites hold for biodiversity levels.
Plants provide the foundation on which all other living things depend. By reducing human access, the wall system is really allowing space for plants transported by wind, birds, and mammals to spontaneously grow through the process of ecological succession. Biodiverse habitats comprising a wide range of living things will emerge and transform as biodiversity increases over a period of roughly 200 years.
We're talking about 200 years, but we're actually not sure because no one's ever really monitored anything that's been left to degrade. So it is what urban ecologists need, because what we don't have is that baseline data on how long does succession take. Let's just see.
Due to the inherent unpredictability of this project, the buildings themselves are designed to be adaptable, employing modular building techniques to allow for change and evolution.
Let's be the pioneers. Let's be the new explorers. Just watch on our doorstep.
Within the reserves, as the ecologists carry out their essential work, guided walks along demarcated paths offer the public the opportunity to experience the variety of emergent life firsthand. Over the course of the first 50 to 60 years, as ecological succession takes hold, first lichens neutralize the concrete, allowing mosses to settle. These then form surface soils for pioneer rudderole plants to break the ground with their root systems, making way for larger secondary successional plant species, all the while forming more resilient levels of biodiversity.
We're not preserving the past. We want the future to take over.
Outside the reserves, over a period of 70 to 100 years, natural erosion from wind and rain allow openings in the walls to emerge at specifically choreographed locations, forming gateways for free human access as the sites reach resilient levels of biodiversity. Now that the sites are no longer under restricted access, designed adaptability allows the buildings to freely change program. These might range from provision for local businesses, short-stay accommodation, or gathering spaces for human and non-human life. As time moves on, the agency of the architect dwindles, as the vitality of the ecosystem shifts the site's identities moment to moment. The process of ecological succession becomes the architect. Continuing towards a climax habitat, projected to be reached 200 years from the time of building, the rammed earth wall structures would disintegrate, welcoming ever larger non-humans into the sites, as the soil from the walls re-enters the biogeochemical cycle of which it is integral. As the walls disintegrate, the plant and animal life within the sites gain increased agency to spread to nearby green corridors. As these biodiverse reservoirs develop across London, they form part of a green network, prizing open the space urgently needed for non-human inhabitation. If everything has equal value in a flattened ontology, it becomes impossible to avoid negative impact. To this end, the project itself is less concerned with finding architectural resolve, believing this to be impossible, and rather proposes the development of a practice positioning the architect as a mediator between the human and non-human worlds. This calls for the architect to embrace uncertainty in partnership with the processes of ecological succession, to think in extended periods of time regarding the succession of the material and social structures we put in place. The architect's agency will always cede to the processes of ecological succession. Isn't it time we embrace that?